Guys, welcome back to League Crawler Live, Season 2. You know, we had a lot of fun Season 1. I learned a lot. We developed a lot. I don't know if everybody remembers, but we started off just doing it with audio, just podcasts back and forth, getting to know some guys here and there. But while we did that, they were gracious enough to give us our time. So I got to give a huge shout to every single guest that we had for Season 1. You guys helped me develop, and you did it with your time. We were able to showcase some of the stuff you did, but you really were here to help me learn how to do all of this. We got to give a huge shout out to my guy freaking Laser. It's my dude Brian. We've been gaming together for 6 years now. When we first started, none of this was the idea. But everything you see here today, every graphical thing you see actually comes from freaking Laser. So if anybody out there is like, yo, I kind of like am digging this, he made everything you see from scratch except for the top logo at the top. That was something that Matt gave us. But everything else, the moving background, the cam boxes, everything you see comes from his hard work. So huge shout out for what he's doing. I appreciate what you did to hook us up over here at League Crawler. We didn't have to pay a single penny for it. That does not mean that anybody else that doesn't want work, you're not going to pay for your own stuff. Huge shout out to you for what you're doing, though, brother. You do an incredible job, and I couldn't give you enough roses. But Season 2 is here. And Season 2 is going to be a little bit different. I want to talk about that. One of the things that happened last year, and man, you guys are destroying this chat. I appreciate all you guys for being here. You guys are rocking it. Swami's here. A bunch of you guys are here. Much love to each and every single one of you. One of the things that we learned at Season 1, or at least that I learned, is I feel like we kind of oversaturated. We did a show every single week. We grinded that out. It was a lot of fun. I don't regret that. But as we got to the end of Season 1, getting into like the holiday season, it just seemed like it became something that not a lot of people wanted to talk about. I was having a hard time talking about it. So what Matt and me decided to do is we're going to do bi-weekly shows. Every 2 weeks, League Crawler Live is going to have a new show. And the week leading up to that, we're going to do nothing but promote. We're going to have some fun. We want to get guys to get their communities engaged, get it hyped up a little bit, and make it a little bit more special. We're going to get a lot of new leagues on this year. I've been talking with guys that really wanted to get on last year. July is out there. He's messaged me, brother, I have not missed you. I am absolutely stoked to get you on. We're getting him on in the next week or two. Really want to hear about what they've got going on. But it's going to be a lot of fun this year, and we're going to do it in a way that everybody gets to stay engaged. Everybody gets to have a lot of fun. We all get to show up here every 2 weeks, and we get to discuss the thing that we all are still enjoying, which is playing this game that we all complain about. And that's really the realistic part of it, is there's a reason we're all still here, you know? So let's break into some news. I do want to give a huge shout out to Matt. LeagueCrawler.com is looking absolutely phenomenal. If you go over there and you check out what they've got going on, there is a brand new article up on there about Soden Bowl, and we're going to talk about Soden in a minute. And they are doing a new pro league for Battlefield 2042. I have not had a chance to check that out, but knowing what Soden does with the community they got over at Soden Bowl, I promise you it's going to be a top-notch endeavor. If anybody out there is playing that game and you're like, yo, I absolutely would like to get into a community that would be a little bit more fun and play some shooters, and do all my things, hit up Soden, go check out what they got at the Pro League, go over to LeagueCrawler.com, check out the article. It's a great segue into what they've got going on. Lots of fun. Check that out. We also today are giving away 4 games of Access. I got to give a huge shout out to Danny over at Access Gaming. They've been on the show a few times. We've been able to talk to them about how they want to progress their football games. We've had communities on that play the Access games. I got to tell you guys, if you go over there to, I think it's the Sim Football League, and it's right off it's incredible. I'll have to get you guys the link. They actually do like this. They have like hundreds and hundreds of people in their community, and every single person owns one player, and they get to pick where they're at on teams. It's phenomenal. So what Access is doing is really cool. Check them out. We will be doing those maybe in the middle of the show, maybe at the end of the show. I'm not exactly sure how we're going to do that, but we've got 4 copies to give away. If you are here for that, you might be winning one. 2 for Xbox, 2 for PlayStation. Having said that, we're going to take a really quick commercial break. When we come back, we are going to be sitting down with the guys from XCFL, from Soden Bowl, from Loyalty, and from DadBods. Guys, we'll be right back. Guys, welcome back to League Crawler Live. As you can see, I've got it all set up. These guys all look beautiful. Huge shout out for you guys for coming in. If any of these guys, if you look around, you're like, yo, that's my commissioner. Shout them out. Let them know how good of a job they're doing. I promise you, this year has been tough for a lot of commissioners, and it's not a shot at anybody. It is what it is. It's the nature of the business. So if you see somebody up here that you look at and you're like, yo, I really appreciate the work you have done for me, this is your time to do that, because this is getting saved. It is going up on YouTube as soon as we're done, and they'll be able to go back and be like, oh, this person loves me. So huge shout out to you guys for being here. If you do not know, we're going to go through a little introduction, and you guys can't see my screen, so I'm just going to start doing the pointing. Over here, we've got Mr. Soden himself, Sean Soden. Can you let the people know who you are, where you're from, what you guys kind of do, what is Soden Bowl? What do you got? A real quick 10-second boom. Yeah, it's incredible. If you guys like ESPN, you like the way they look, that is a league to check out. To my, damn, this is so backwards. I'm pointing the opposite direction to do this for you guys, just so you know. Over here, though, we got Hacks from Loyalty. Hack, explain what Loyalty is. Xbox, PlayStation. Soden is over on Xbox. Correct? Did I have that wrong? Are you guys not on PlayStation 2? Have you grown even more? Yeah, you're just on Xbox, right? Oh, shit. Now they can hear you, bro. I'm sorry.
It's all
Look,
good.
we're back.
I'm sure they've heard enough of me over the years. They don't
Okay,
need to hear me
so
all the time.
if you guys want to see the ESPN type thing, Soden's the guy you guys want to check out. Soden Bowl is absolutely incredible. We're going to have links for everybody in the description of the YouTube video. I'm going to put them up on Twitch. Or if you go over to my Twitter, you can actually go check them all out. I hit them all up before the show to see if their moms would let them come out and play with me. Their moms did. I appreciate all of you. Hack, tell them who you are, where you guys are from, PlayStation, Xbox. Give everyone a heads up.
Yeah, we're a PS5 league, Mo, and thanks for having me on. I just feel honored to be a part of this panel with these guys. We came on the scene about 3 years ago, and we've just been progressively trying to improve. We added a second league, the K9 Academy, but our whole thing. You can see above me where it says the game sucks, our leagues don't. And that's basically comes down to we try to do everything we can to keep the community engaged, having fun. And we spend about this much time on Madden and a whole bunch of time on just being a good community. And what I want to say, though, is if I get this out of the way, is one of our guys, and this is why we love our community, one of our guys, Wells, found out just before Christmas he has cancer, and he's out there going through chemo and fighting. And so the league is come together, and I just ask you guys to pray for our guy Wells as he's battling. And that's really what Loyalty's about in a nutshell. It's not about the game of Madden, it's about the guys we do it together with. And so that's who we are, brother.
Yeah, no, huge shout out for what Wells are doing. Make sure, that's something, Hack, I really appreciate you, because before we can get started, it's a great way to make sure that we keep this as grounded as possible. We're all going to have our issues. We're all going to talk about the things we had to do to make sure that we can go through this ride and still have an enjoyable time. At the end of the day, what it's about is being a part of a brotherhood and having people around you that they know they're not alone. So for your guy out there, I know that you guys over at Loyalty probably do an amazing job. I would guarantee you do an amazing job making him feel supported. I want to make sure that he's watching this. If he is watching this, and brother, you got that same support for every single person up on this panel. Do not feel like you're a stranger here. Get well. Nothing but love for you. Prayers your way. I'll make sure to add you to my prayer chain with my daughters every night. I hope you feel better, brother. Huge prayers to you. Hack, thank you for even letting us know that. Over here, you got my guy, a guy I spend quite a lot of time talking to, and that's Nick over at XCFL. We see a lot of things the same way. We really like kind of rubbing ideas back and forth and seeing what these ideas can kind of come up with. Nick, how is XCFL doing right now? Let them know where you're from. Let them know what brand you guys are playing on.
We are Xbox Next Gen League. Well, I guess it's current gen now. Xbox Next Gen League. We've been rolling since Madden 16, Madden 17. For us, this cycle is going pretty well. We are a well-oiled machine, man. We just kind of keep chugging along because of the community. No matter how the game plays, no matter what issues everybody's having, what glitches there are, it's all about the community for us. This, the 32 guys that just show up each day. We play the game, we talk about it, we joke about it. It's the brotherhood, and that's what keeps most of these long-term leagues going, man, is the 32 guys you're playing this with. So, yeah, we're Xbox Next Gen. If anyone's interested, like you said, follow us on Twitter. Hop in.
Appreciate you, bro. Hey, I just want to, again, take a quick little shout out. I usually miss a lot of the comments that come up in the chat because I'm so focused on the guests that we have, and then I go back through at the end and we kind of go through them. But I was able to kind of glance over, and I do see that Wells 8855, first time chatter over here. Thanks, fellas. We've got 45 people in the chat. Make sure this dude feels some love. Give him some shout outs. Give him some prayers. Make sure, spam the hell out of my chat. I don't care. Make sure that prayers for Wells as the spam. We want everyone to feel like they're included, and when people are going through some stuff, they ain't going through it alone, man. So, rock on. Down here, when we first started doing League Crawler Live, one of the first guests I actually had on was Rick. And Rick never got this kind of treatment. What he got was, let's just do the audio, the sound will post in like 2 days. Thank you. See it. Rick, we've kind of upgraded since the last time you were here.
I thought it was pretty fancy last time. This is a whole new level. I feel like I need to have some stage lighting. I'm wearing a little bit of powder on my nose.
Yeah.
This is a whole new level that you got going here, Mo.
Yeah, I wanted to make sure Matt had something here that represented what he did on the site, and I had to keep going until we got to that point. And I think we're kind of getting a little close, and it's looking like it's becoming a competition now. The site, I think, still outdoes me a little bit, but it's a lot of fun. But let's talk about it. We haven't had you on for quite a bit, man. How is DadBods going? Let the people know. Are you here from PlayStation? You here from Xbox? What's going on? Hey, can you
yes to all. So we have expanded. We started as a PC league about 3 years ago, Madden 19, when it first came on PC. And DadBods, the community actually predates our Madden leagues. So DadBods has been around for a while. Started as a PUBG community, about 800 large, a lot of different games to play. Whole point of the league is if you need to go AFK to go change a diaper, we're your place. We all get it.
Absolutely, man. And I really absolutely love what you guys do as a community. I mean, it's incredible. I love that everybody has this thing that ties them together. Like with loyalty up there, you got like that dog pack. You feel like you're part of the pack, baby. Like, and then it's just, I just love these vibes. Like, this is what it's all about. Okay, so we got our check-ins done. You guys now in the audience, you know who's here. You know what's going on. You know who everybody's representing. I am Mo. I am from SPA. I do the League Crawler Live. You'll see me every single week. But I am also the commissioner over at SPA. And one of the things that we wanted to talk about today was just kind of the game is going through an upgrade, right? And I know that there's going to be some of us looking and be like, it's not really an upgrade. We don't really like it. There's going to be others of us that be like, no, we really like the direction that we're going. There's this ebb and flow, right? So what I want to do is give each of you some time to kind of talk about what the experience so far this Madden has been like, because from my understanding, none of the leagues here have shut down, correct? Everybody's still going pretty strong. Which means we have all found ways to have fun, because if we weren't having fun, or we found ways to at least go, because if we weren't going, it would have stopped. I want to know what the difference is between what we're experiencing and the others. So, which one of you guys would like to start? Let's kind of talk round table discussions. Who kind of wants to tell me what their Madden experience has been like so far, this Madden with their communities?
I can go first if no one else wants to. I got no problem. I'll lead off.
Hit it up, Nick.
We waited till the scouting update. And we kind of talked about it as a league and decided let's wait for it. We tend to play 10 to 15 seasons of Madden a cycle. So scouting and drafts and all that stuff is so big for us that, it's the best night of the year, XCFL draft night. So we were like, we need this scouting update. We were seeing everything. We're like, all right, this is cool. The wait was absolutely horrible. We were, because we normally start the weekend it comes out, we boot up, we go. All 32 have it, we roll. We don't wait for any roster updates. We just go. So to wait that long was absolutely horrible for us. But the community, like I said, we keep each other going, So we had stuff in the server, ways to earn our user rank points, different things to keep people engaged in the chat. For me, myself, I'm happy we waited for the scouting update because it is something different. As far as, my guys, dude, we finished our last season in 18 days. So we are like rolling. So we are like an all-time fast pace where we're just flying. And
Right.
majority of us are family guys, have kids, like we're all the way from like 21-year-olds up to like 55. So we have like everybody, maybe even a little older. But for us, so I mean, for me, I don't mind the gameplay. I think the gameplay is in an okay spot. For me though, I will play any Madden gameplay there is. I don't really care. I'm more concerned about the stuff outside of the gameplay,
Right.
which is where the downfalls are for me. But as far as our league, man, we are rolling. We have our complaints and stuff, but we knock on wood, haven't got hit with the draft glitch because that would have been horrible. We haven't got hit with any of the guys not being able to 31 out of 32 users or something.
Mm-hmm.
So we've been pretty fortunate, which could be why I'm still pretty positive about this game. I don't know. That's what I got to lead it off. Let's see what the other guys have to say.
Hack, what do you think, man?
Yeah, so I think the game itself, like most Madden cycles, unfortunately, has progressively gotten worse with each update in terms of gameplay. And I think for us, we did not wait on the scouting update, and I was actually honestly, no knock on those that did, because that's fine. But I was glad we didn't, just because I think there was. It's a good start, but there was a lack of depth to it that I think we expected. They sold it as being kind of a very robust scouting update, and it looked great on the outside. But then when you really got inside it, there's not a lot going on there, and you end up watching more than you end up interacting. And I'm not saying the old scouting update is good, because click 3 buttons and get a grade is not great. It's not, and so it needed to change and it needed to be different. But unfortunately, I think that the scouting update, it left a lot of us feeling like, hey, we waited for this, right? And I'm glad. So that's why I'm glad we didn't wait. But at the same time, our community as a whole, we've banded together and we keep playing and we keep fighting. And I think one of the things that I'd say about the community as a whole this year is that I think there were really high expectations coming in, because there was this big focus on franchise, and so it was going to be a hard thing for the Madden dev team to meet, right? And so they had a high bar, and I felt like we started off really well, and I think there was a lot of communication early on, and then unfortunately that's fallen off as the cycle's gone on, and a lot of us now are looking at like, well, what do we do to prepare for Madden 23? And I think also there's a lot of us in the community that have been playing this game for 20 years that are looking forward to NCAA 23 or whenever that is. And so a lot of people are kind of looking over their shoulder going, I might be interested in doing something different with my video game football time, and it's been a little tough. Getting into the later part of the cycle, if I'm just being completely honest.
Yeah. No, I completely agree. And I'll hit those points in just a second. So, Sean, I know that Soden has always been the top of everything. You guys are and that's just my opinion. My opinion, you guys are at the top when it comes to broadcasting. You're the top when it comes to a lot of the engagement stuff with the community, right? This year has just been, it's been hard on everybody. What's that experience been like for you guys this year with Soden Bowl?
Well, the broadcasting's always kind of been there with us. We're fortunate to have a really good broadcasting team between Snipes and CG and a few other guys that get in there. Kylo, good community, good staff. Most of us have been together, for 6, 7, 8 years, really. So we have a good staff, a good community to build around. So a lot of the time, whatever we want to develop, there's already people working on it behind the scenes within the Soden Bowl community. So a lot of that is kind of a shared expense, if you will. As far as this Madden, just like the other guys above, like Nick stated, we waited out for the scouting report. It's nice to see a step in the CFM direction. I like that. I felt like maybe they could expand upon that, maybe later on down the road with that scouting system. From a social media standpoint, I'd like to be able to see a lot of that stuff shareable more. Maybe some stuff that could be Twitter related. I'd love to be able to pull some of my Twitter stuff from the league and actually pull it into a real Twitter, not just be in the game. I think that would be really cool to kind of expand Madden, and I'm sure Madden could benefit from some of that in-game advertising as well. So I'd like to see a little bit more of that. But I mean, gameplay, I'm a little on the fence with the gameplay. I feel like the more they mess with the game, the more things that just kind of go wrong. If they just leave it alone like it was at launch, to me, I'd be happy.
Okay. And Rick, DadBods is going. What has the experience been like this med?
I'm on mute. I want to challenge Soden really quick. I think there's one thing that DadBods is tops in, maybe even over Soden, which is number of touchdowns scored while holding a baby. we kind of pride ourselves that we think we're near the top of that.
Oh, I agree. Yeah, that would definitely probably be in your wheelhouse.
So there's a couple of things. We had a similar experience. We had a little different that we were PC was our primary league, and so we weren't sure if we were going to exist in Madden 22. There's always kind of a question: will they, won't they, with PC? And the other question is, will it be next gen or not? And of course, it landed on previous gen, which was a little disappointing. We've kind of gotten over it. The league is plowing through that. We did encounter one interesting bug in our PS5 league. We found out if any one of your commissioners is on auto, it will sim the entire draft. And that was kind of interesting to find. And so our PS5 league lost their first year draft due to that bug, and that was kind of rough.
Interesting.
As far as the gameplay goes, so I'm in two leagues. Personally, I act as commissioner in the PC league, and then I'm just a player in our Xbox league. I love the next gen. Maybe I'm not a great Madden player. I love the physics of it. I love the feel of the players. I love the way that route running happens. That it's the defensive players don't twitch react the same way. You have to make the right call to go cover, and if you don't make the right call in coverage, that guy's open. Yep. It's not like he looks open and then the defender comes flying out of nowhere to come cover it. So at least, especially in the passing game, I really enjoy the passing in the next gen. Running too, I used to be an offensive lineman. And so I look at the blocking and I look at, did the guy make the right call? Is he in the right place? And especially when I look at pulling blocks, power runs, I feel like next gen does a lot better job on that stuff. So I'm excited by the work that they've put into the engine. I think it's a really good foundation for us to have for the next few years as they build out some of the other parts of Madden. I will say on the scouting update, we did not end up waiting for the scouting update in PC, and I can't say we regret it. I see the scouting update on Xbox and on PS5, and it's fine, but the old system was kind of fine too. Yep. And so we haven't really felt any pain from having not made that move.
Yeah, no, I think when it comes to the scouting update, and I'll talk from an SPA standpoint, right? We started before the scouting update happened, and if a few years prior, just to let everybody know, we actually had our league shut down in the it was like one of the playoff rounds, right? It froze out. We couldn't advance, couldn't do anything. And our league came together, and we recreated the entire league. Each member redid their own rosters. They had their reps check over their rosters. So we'd already had a system in place to restart at some point. So we decided to start right away. And then I think they released the patch about week 9, right, with where we were at. So we did what we did before. We restarted everything, got all the rosters back up to date. Kept going. I enjoyed the scouting. I think that it's a good base for what I am hopeful is coming. If you would have asked me, hey, would you have started later, done it if you would have done it? That's probably not. We probably would have done the same exact thing because the community kind of kicked that one. Having said that, I am hopeful that there's going to be more coming to that, right? The bugs, we haven't experienced, I mean, God help me. We have not experienced any bugs, knock on wood.
Knock on wood, man.
Yeah, so we don't have that. I know that there's one. The one that we have had is not really ones that are glitches per se. It's more of people clicking scenarios they probably shouldn't click, like players retiring. Like it's not something that in a 32-person league, it's just not. You don't want to see that many players retire. That for me, what I saw people doing that wanted players to retire was like, yo, this guy signed to like a 5-year deal. If I click this button, I'm going to get out of a big contract that I don't have to pay. That I don't like, right? That is not how that feature should work. It is an escape for a lot of people. Not a fan of that one, right? Coaches getting fired because they clicked a scenario and then losing all of their stuff. We didn't fire those coaches. I don't want them to lose any of their XP. It's making bad coaches even worse as they're rejoining because now they're out all of the stuff that they earn. Not a feature that I'd particularly like going forward, especially in a 32-person one. We didn't experience the 31 out of 32-person glitch where you Some of these leagues, you can't add somebody else. Haven't had that one yet. The draft, we let every single 2-minute hit. We never advanced a single thing. We sat 4 hours through that thing, right? But it worked, right? So it was a pain in the ass, but it worked. And there's more like that. So those are kind of my questions. How are you guys navigating some of this stuff? Like, for other leagues out there that are experiencing these things, and they're like, "Yo, I don't want to deal with all this. I don't want to." How are you dealing with a lot of these glitches or things that you're not really liking, the scenarios that are out there?
I think there's a couple of principles that come out of the stuff that I think we've heard from everybody here, and you highlighted this, especially the scenarios that. I don't have the numbers. I'm sure that the dev team is very numbers driven and metrics driven, but it feels like the franchise mode is still at its core designed as a single player experience.
It is.
Yeah.
You see this with a lot of runaway mechanisms inside of the game, mechanics. You see this with the scenarios that don't work multiplied by 32. So you see a lot of things that don't scale to a whole set of 32 guys. And so the game, we still kind of make it work because we love playing with each other, and there's so much goodness in that core of owning a team and being a part of a community. But you'd love to see a CFM that was really designed from scratch to be a multiplayer game instead of having to kind of share with single player and multiplayer. And I think that the other principle that comes out of some of the stuff that you guys saw is that there's so much love that goes into a franchise. There's so many hours, more than almost any other game I've ever seen. If you take the cumulative hours of the 32 members of a league, including the commissioners, all of that time scouting, trading, deving, all those kind of things, that there's a game-breaking bug. It hurts so bad because you have lost months of work. You've lost months times 32 guys, hundreds of hours of context. It's one thing to lose a save game and you go, "Oh, I hate losing that save game." This is that times 500, literally. And so I think there's a reason that pain really hits when it hits.
Yeah, I would completely agree with that. Is anybody out there experiencing these glitches at all? Like, it's up on this panel?
So I was in a league, it was PNG, and it wasn't the league I play in, but great commissioner, really good league, and they did experience the draft glitch. And then they also experienced another one where the league actually completely lost all its data on an advance. And so, the question was, what are you doing about it? And there's resources out there. League Crawler is a great place to get connected to other leagues to find out what's going on. And one of the things that in my Madden journey, I've been playing this game 20 years. You can tell by the beard, but like just over the last couple of years, I've gotten involved in the different Discord communities, whether it's League Crawler, the CFM community is a great one. I'm involved with Neon Sports. That's a great place where some guys so you can find places out there where you can learn, like, okay, what did you guys do in this situation? And honestly, we get a lot more learning in those spaces than you do going to an EA dev board or somewhere. Honestly, it's the truth. We learn from each other. And I think that so much of what's wrong with this game can be fixed with A, better communication, and B, more customization for the people that run leagues like us. So number one, like momentum, great example. I think it's a great feature. I think it has a lot of potential, but there's no way in hell that after one touchdown, you should have a full momentum bar, or after one interception, it's a full momentum. There's a lot of pieces in here that, quite honestly, can be fixed if we just would address giving leagues the ability to customize things that make sense for a 32-man league. And they can't find those things out, Mo, until they come to guys like this panel and ask us. And one of the things that really burned me up early on is that it was said, hey, we pulled together some of the top leagues. However, I talked to a lot of these guys in this league through Neon Sports. They didn't talk to any of us. They didn't, so I'm trying to find
guys,
out.
They talked to me. I'm sorry. I fucked it all up. It's my fault.
We can blame you, Mo.
Yeah, I'm in the crosshairs. Take your shots.
But I just think the bottom line is that we as a community feel like we're not heard, and a lot of times we're not the ones that are going to complain and treat people like crap. We just want it. We want it to be a better experience. So if we can be a part of the solution rather than part of the problem, that's all. I think if anybody from EA listens to this back, that's the number one thing is let's engage these communities that want to be a part of the solution.
Yeah, I do. What you said is a good one, and I have mentioned this a few times. That when you hit up one commissioner, like if guys like Swami or guys like any of these guys that are in there, if they hit up one commissioner, that's really hitting up 32 different people because that one guy is talking for 32. So if you hit up 30 commissioners, you're hitting up 300 something people. It's a really easy way to get a mass amount of stuff. So I don't disagree with you. I do think hitting up commissioners is a brilliant idea. They have resources that a lot of other people don't have. It makes a ton of sense. But Soden, you're the only one we haven't heard from. Like, what?
You didn't hear from me.
Oh, we didn't hear from Nick either. I'm sorry.
Let's
Nick,
Soden go
bro.
first.
I apologize. That
Go
when we're flipping all over the place, I get confused.
Yeah.
Mine's easy. I just asked Nick because in the time we advanced, he's through like 3 seasons of Madden. So if there's a glitch, he done found it.
That's what I was gonna say though. If like when we get through 15 seasons in a cycle, we see, and there's other leagues that do too, but we see a lot of the stuff. And like we were one of the first leagues last cycle that got to the draft 1st, and all of a sudden, if you were looking at the draft board and then it became your pick, you'd get booted out of the draft. So I was letting everybody know in all the discords I'm in, like, hey, when you get to the draft, make sure you don't have back-to-back picks, and if you do, you have to trade it to the commissioner, then trade it back. It was just this horrible experience because, like I said, when you play 15 seasons, the first draft is the most important one because that's where you get your players that you love the whole cycle. And just to piggyback on some of the stuff, though, what I've said almost every single cycle when they brought in the scenario engine, oh, this is an awesome base. Now they just have to build off it. Oh, scouting, this is an awesome base. Now we just have to build off it. Oh, a couple commissioner tools. This is great, but we just need to build off it. But then nothing gets built on. And we're like the scenario engine is built on, but it's built on for a single player franchise. Like
it is.
Antonio Cromartie or whoever it was retired at halftime one time. There's been one player that retires in the middle, like, and now all 32 teams get a retirement scenario for a player. Like, come on. Like, there's teams that are 4-0 and the guy retires in your Madden league. It's nuts. And then to say the example is you just don't click on it. Come on. That's your reasoning.
That can't be the solution. I 100% agree with that.
Be.
And
I'm not buying that it was put there on purpose. I'm 100% not believing that. Like, you can't tell me.
You may not believe me, but it was something that we noticed in the beginning before the game was even released. It was something that we all talked about. I would not be shocked if that was actually something they left in just to make sure that you could get by it, because it was something that we all kind of noticed. We were talking about it being a single-player franchise, and they were listening to a lot of stuff. I cannot sit here and say the EA developers did not listen to me. They did, and if my info wasn't enough to help the game, I apologize. But I was encouraged with the feedback that we were able to get. I thought they did a phenomenal job. My thing is this, right? When it comes, and we're going to get into things that they can fix. I don't want to spend all night talking about the negative parts because it's nice. One of the things that I was highly encouraged with, though, was that they were able to kind of listen to feedback. At no point did I ever feel like I was talking to a blank wall. My whole thing is I don't know how realistic it is for this entire thing to be done and completed in like a 6-month time frame and then to be updated for 6 months. I've been telling everybody to listen to me, and this is not anything I've ever heard from EA. I don't want anybody to go back, oh, EA told them all this. They never have. In my opinion, this is likely a 3 to 4 year fix, and up till that point, it's going to feel like franchise mode is a fast food restaurant that's under construction and the drive-thru's still open. You can still go through the drive-thru, but expect dusty food. Like it is what it is. So, and I wish there was more food places around that you could go order different places, but right now that's just kind of what the game feels like. And I'm encouraged that they're listening. I'm encouraged that they're working on the product. I just don't think it's a realistic product to be done within 6 months. Having said that, one of the things that you just touched up on, Rick, I 100% agree with. It was absolutely made for a single-player franchise. Here are some 3 easy things I would like to see fixed for a 32-player franchise, and I would like your guys' feedback on all of these, okay? Free agency, with how you go about signing players right now is a bar system. You can see who's bidding. In a 32-player franchise, what that ends up resulting to is people just bidding each other up until somebody hits advance, right? And then a guy that's like 70-something overall is getting like $20 million per year, right? But that's kind of the system. What I would prefer to see is a silent bid system where you can go in, you can put in what you would pay that player per year, and nothing is said at all. Nobody knows who's gotten anything, and when you hit advance, they go. I think it's a very easy way for them to kind of make that more 32-player base without it being crazy. Another one is these dev scenarios. I don't know about you guys, but I know with us, we play 15-minute quarters. We play 130 snaps per game. We tell our guys, they get these dev scenarios. We like the dev scenarios. It's cool to have these little features that go throughout the game. But at the same time, we don't want to see our users cheese. I don't want to see guys overusing a guy too much. I don't want somebody to go into a game and feel like I have to play in a way that's not realistic in order to get this. So I would prefer something where, and I don't have a solution, I just don't think what's there is cohesive to have in a 32-person league where you're wanting players to play per your rules, right? And the last one that I have is sliders. I would like 0 or 100 to practically break the game. Like I want that much control over where these sliders are going, that if you're here, it's not working, and if you're here, it's working way too much. And let us find our own middle ground for what we want to see. In my opinion, the things that I do not like seeing, I don't like seeing quarterbacks being accurate right to DBs. I feel like it happens too much. I would like to see more inaccurate passes to places that nobody can get the ball. The goal of your quarterback is to put it in a place that only the receiver can get it, right? So if I'm missing inaccurately, let me put it in places that there's nobody. Very few times should it be underthrown right to a defensive player. Like, I just don't, that's not what I think is the thing. And to piggyback on the other side, I don't like seeing how many interceptions we have. For a league that plays realistically 15-minute quarters, I don't want to see more than 15 interceptions a season. Like, that's a realistic number per player. And there's times you can hit that in like 3 games. So I would like to see a little bit more control over those areas so that teams or players or leagues like us can have the experience that we're wanting, but guys that don't want that experience can have just as much control to have their own experience.
You know, Mo, I'd take one point that you made and throw a little bit of kudos. We haven't talked about it yet. Nobody's mentioned it because it's not a sexy change. One of my favorite changes this year is the stamina system. Mm-hmm. I love that guys get tired. I love that we have to sub them out. I love that we have to manage fatigue over a season. It's such a fix to that issue that we've had for a long time where guys will build teams that are 22 people deep, and then they'll run the whole season with those 22 guys because injuries and fatigue don't really cut into it. And so I have seen so much better depth in team building and team construction and thinking about scheme and, you know, the third guy on the running back depth chart because of the changes they made this year to stamina.
Yeah, I agree with you. I really like their stamina this year. And one of the things, I'm having a brain fart now. One of the things I really liked was progressive fatigue. And I like that you can get practice injuries because we turned down injuries pretty significantly because the in-game injuries can get a little bit crazy. But by turning those down and turning practice injuries on, we're seeing a lot more injuries for just shorter amounts of time. I love it. Anybody else? What fixes do you guys have that you're like, if we had this in a 32-person mode, this would actually make it a much better experience for us?
I'd like to see an expansion on the practice. I like the new practice system, progressive fatigue. I think those are great ideas. I'd like to see practice matter more than just XP. Currently, it's still an XP farm for a lot of leagues. I know it is for ours. I'd like to see it matter more. I'd like to see maybe more of the abilities change in and out of practice. You know, if you're going up against a scrambling quarterback, maybe hanging on to a quarterback or even using your practice squad as somebody to practice against. And you're forced to actually do that practice so your defense can react in different ways. You know, like if you're going up against Lamar Jackson, maybe you've got to use some of your practice guys to mimic Lamar Jackson in that Ravens offense.
Yeah,
and then your defense can act a little more accordingly in the game.
Yeah, that's brilliant.
And piggyback on Soden, I think one of the things that he said that that has been one of the biggest complaints is that once you've played your game, you can no longer practice with your guys.
Yeah, that's a big
So I think they really, not only would we like to practice with our guys, a lot of our guys, loyalty is the only league they play in. This is it. You know, like this, they want to spend more time figuring out what works with their players and that. So an export to take that team and pull them offline so you can you can play around with it and see what it does. I mean, I think the idea that that you can't access that team after a certain point, it really affects how guys, they just feel like there's nothing to do and they lose engagement, and they're trying to create their own little offline league or mode that's like it. And then I think one of the things that was mentioned was sliders. I would love to know how Soden. I would love to know like how you guys, because I really look up to what you guys do. I strive to do how you guys handle sliders. But like, I would like more clarity around what the sliders are really supposed to do. You can go to like Operation Sports and you can dig in and you can get a lot of guys that know a lot about it. But there's some guys that will say, hey, set the play recognition for passing up at 100. And then there's some guys, they set it at 0. And it's like, I'm honestly confused sometimes on like what matters, because we've tried it both different ways and it doesn't seem to affect the game. So I would love to know how do you guys over the years use sliders or not?
So we used to be a big slider league. We used to go to Operation Sports, get a lot of feedback from I think it was Clutch that was in there, was a big guy that was in there. We used to get a lot of those, and then what would happen is Madden actually started updating the game more. So your slider set that was great for weeks 1 through 4, all of a sudden, they're no good anymore because they've updated the game. So then you go back. So now we're just default sliders, basically all 50s.
That's what we are too. We're default as well for that same reason.
Best I can tell, they have their own sliders. We saw this one year specifically with interceptions, that we had, like everybody sees, interceptions are too high, so we cranked down the interceptions. Balls falling off everybody's hands. It's kind of a weird animation, but it's okay because the numbers actually went down. But then what we saw was, after a while, the Madden guys see all of the data, right? They see the outcomes from all the games. They aggregate it all together, and they also see, oh, wow, running per game's too high. Interceptions per game are too high. And I have to believe they tweak their own sliders based on this mass data they collect.
Yeah.
And then when that piles on with the changes you've already made, you end up in weird situations where you can't throw an interception. It's impossible.
That's the issue, though. They're taking, like the information from games that aren't being played like our franchises are, and it creates this huge issue where like we have all these rules to prevent different things from happening. We're a non-user interception league, so you are not allowed to user and go intercept it. You can swat, stay in your zone, strafe, all that, but you're not allowed to use or pick. So you can. It just has helped. It opens up a lot more of the field, gives you a lot more realistic gameplay, and we've been playing like that for so long that all of us have come from the user interception, user lurk background. But it is much more fun to see. You can throw the ball to spots in the field that you can't when you're playing against a user. So you see more plays, different spots in the field, whatever it is. But that's the thing. They're taking the information from places that isn't the same type of gameplay that we're all looking for, and it throws stuff off. So they fix the wrong thing, and then that's how these sliders get all jacked up. So
it'd be interesting if going to the communication thing, it would be interesting if their sliders were reflected in a way that we could see.
Mm-hmm. Right, that's what I'm saying. And I think one of the things that they don't tell you is when they do a patch or an update, there are things that they change on the sliders that you don't like. I will tell you right now, my Deshaun Watson that was 94 throw power does not throw like he did before the patch. It's a slower animation. The ball floats outside the numbers, and and I'm seeing it across the board where I have this conspiracy theory that people may joke about, but that maybe they were trying to sell Gunslinger and Mutt, and so the only way you can have a ball that zips now is have Gunslinger on. I don't know, but like it definitely something changed. There was nothing in the patch notes, and you see that a lot. You see where things change with gameplay, and there's nothing to really tell you like, unless you play a ton of head-to-head, you're not going to know that.
So the patch notes that they try to create are great, but I would second this, that what ends up happening is you get a lot of your information in the patch notes from these guys who spend full-time labbing. And you wait for the Eric Rayweather or somebody else who's going to put in or Deuce Close or somebody's going to put a bunch of lab work, and that's how you find out what was going on in the patch.
Yeah, so for us, we have been a slider league for a long time. If we did not use sliders on 15-minute quarters, we would have scores of like 100, 200, right? So our whole entire thing is to replicate a real NFL game, and Madden claims to be a simulation, so we should be able to do that. Like that should be a thing that we can do because this is a simulation. That's why they have the game. That's the whole reason. Okay, so we do the 15 minutes, but we have like our quarterback accuracy at 22. We have coverages at 100. We have play recognition at 100. We have offensive line at 0. We have catching, I think, right now at like 42. So it's what we've had to do is gear the game so that defense is as difficult as it can possibly be. Because for us, when you play that long a time, you recognize there's just not a realistic defense.
Yeah.
And I know that if EA were to actually do that, these 6-minute quarter games would not be a fun experience for the mass majority of people. Like, let's just be real. How many of you go on and go to Flight Simulator and actually do a realistic flight from LA to New York? Nobody does. It's boring. You want to go do and fly cool cities and go see it. So they say they want to do a simulation game, but nobody really wants a simulation game. If they really did, defense would be a lot more oomph than what it is. And so for what we see, we have to do sliders. If we didn't, we would not be able to have any of the experiences that we want to have.
Yeah, how many games finish without a punt? Right? I mean,
It's more than I'd like. We've gotten to a point that defense is starting to matter. It was for a while we couldn't get games. We couldn't get a team to get like under 60 points. Like every team was scoring at least 60 points this cycle. And that's just not something I want to see. I would like to get to a point where 40 is the max that you see in a week. And we're starting to hit like the 40-ish average. So we're seeing progress with what we would like to see. It's nowhere near where I would absolutely like it. I would like to see defense matter a hell of a lot more than it actually does. So I don't want it to be OP. I would like corners to swat balls down. I would like linebackers to hit balls out. I would like to see a lot more of that.
Not every pass has to end in a catch or an interception. Like you see stat lines where you're 16 for 19 with, and your 3 incompletions or interceptions.
I'd like to see a lot more balls hit the ground. And that happens in the NFL because they're hitting places that nobody can get to the ball. Like that's the whole point. The windows in the NFL are so small that you either get it right into the guy's window or you're overthrowing it. It's very rarely that you're underthrowing it to a point that only the DB is able to get it. Like that's just not the thing, but that's the norm in this game, and I would like to see them go away from that, because if they did that, I think we would see a lot better.
We need to see pass rush get a revamp, and the interaction between defensive lineman, offensive lineman, and to get an actual pocket that you can step up in without, a defensive tackle jumping 10 feet and sacking your quarterback. I don't know. We need to, yeah.
Yeah, it's a lot. Guys, we're going to take a really quick commercial break. As we come back, one of the things that we're going to talk about is we're going to start doing grades on different parts of the game. And we'll all be able to kind of do our own. So that should be fun. And we're also going to talk about steps or things you've added to this cycle, because we've done a couple, and kind of see what fun things you're doing outside of your own community. I know, Soden, you've got this new thing on Battlefield, so we're going to talk about that. Guys, we will be right back. Guys, welcome back. One of the things we wanted to make sure to do today is Access has been phenomenal. They've come on the show a few times. Access Football is a lot of fun. I've got it downloaded, so I wasn't able to win one of these codes. But it is a unique experience if you're looking for something that's a little bit different, football-driven, simulation mode, lots and lots and lots of stuff you can do outside the game, creation-wise. Just a great product. We're actually going to do a giveaway right now. One person from Xbox, one person from PlayStation. If you want these games, be the first person to comment now on either one of those consoles. Just put Xbox or PlayStation. Whoever gets it first, you are the winner. Hit up League Crawler. We'll see them, and you'll win your game. Getting into this next part, let's go with some grades, okay? Grading out, what would you guys give the graphics? Let's start with Hack. What would you do? MVP, you won Xbox. Toddy, you won PlayStation 5. Matt, can you make sure to get with them? I think you're still in the chat. Can you make sure to get one of them and make sure they get their stuff? Okay, Hack. What would you give the graphics?
No, I'd give the graphics an A. I mean, I think they're solid. I mean, I think they did a lot of work on the background pieces this year with the stadium and the interactions. And one of the things is that when you play Madden a lot, you tend to kind of speed through some of the cutscenes and some of the other things that in game probably make it a little cooler experience because you're just trying to get through it sometimes. But I think it's solid. I don't have a lot of complaints about just the way the game looks.
Okay, so what would you give the graphics?
I'd give it an A as well. The lighting's really good. The helmets, the reflection off the helmets is solid. I don't know of a sports game. Maybe MLB would be up there with them, but as far as sports games, maybe NBA. I mean, the graphics are top notch.
Nick?
Yeah, I'm there with the A. I like that they added the interaction with the sideline a little bit more, where they like help guys up and different things like that, which is cool to see because it used to just be like paper players standing on the sidelines. I will say one of my guys commented, but I'm the Cowboys this year, and for some reason I get a strobe light effect where my lights are constantly flashing for the entire game. It's happening every game, home and away.
Really?
So I can't. Yeah, I don't. And I know it's just me, but I don't know what causes it. So if anyone does know, let me know because it's like a second home field advantage for me because I'm used to it now. But my opponents are like, "What players?" And they're all like flashing like crazy. So
what the hell?
Yeah, it's horrible, and it's only me. So,
and you're still giving it an A.
Because I know that's not supposed to happen. So I'll give it an A for everyone else's experience.
Okay. And then Rick, what would you say? Giving it a grade, A through F.
I'm going to be a tougher grader. I give it a B. For me, if something's solid and good and does the job right, that's a B. And I think that's what I see from the graphics. They don't do anything wrong. But they also, I don't ever sit down, oh, wow, this is just stunning. Yeah. Or, wow, that was so lifelike. So I see the graphics as they've done a good job. It's a proper next-gen upgrade. I love the fluidity. The 60 frames per second feels great and looks smooth. But, it's a B for me.
I would go solid B as well. Here's my thing. There are still way too many players that don't have their real faces. And I know that EA is like, but those guys don't come in and get them. Then figure out a way to get them. Like, you are a multi-billion-dollar company. Every single player that's in the game should have a likeness at some point. The other thing is tattoos. And I know they're going to be like, but we don't want to pay the artist tattoos. You're a multi-billion-dollar company. Figure something out. Because tattoos, for me, are an art. If these guys are going to put them on their body, I think it separates them on the field. Make guys look legit. There's very, very small things you can add that I think would add a significant amount of realism to the graphics. So I would say solid B as well. They look good. The helmets, the grass, the football, that shit looks phenomenal. Like if you really zoom in on the ball, it looks like an actual football. It's got the little dots all over and everything. Great looking stuff. Make the players look a little better. That's all I ask. Byron Murphy looks phenomenal. I can't complain about that. Byron Murphy, you guys did good. Okay, let's get into gameplay. Same exact rotation. Start with Hack, A through F. What would you give gameplay for Madden 22?
I would have said at the beginning of the cycle, I'd given it a B, and we've come down to an F at this point. Unfortunately, I think as the cycle has gone on, each update it's gotten progressively worse. Where guys that have been committed to me for a long time in this league, I'm begging them to play. So it's just progressively gotten worse with and you know what? Some of it may be, we need to go back to these default sliders. It could be I'm chasing that. We went with the RFF sliders because I think he puts in more work than anybody else around it, and he plays so many games. And I have a high amount of respect for the AWFL. I think those guys, they really do spend time trying to figure out what works. And but really, honestly, I think the gameplay in itself. The momentum bar is a big feature that affects gameplay way too much. I mean, you can go from zero momentum to a full bar momentum when it doesn't make sense, and then what happens is the game plays completely different. And so if you make that first interception, you might as well turn the game off a lot of times, especially if you're playing a better user, because at the end of the day, there's nothing you can do to overcome that. So I'd love to see some settings that allow us as commissioners to either take it out or tweak it or adjust it. Just make some of these things in-game customizable for us, so our own gameplay experiences of what we're trying to accomplish in the league make it more enjoyable for our members.
So one of the people in the chat asking, I randomly caught it, did you mean F for fantastic?
That's my guess.
Yeah, he says the momentum bar needs to take a hike right after that too. So I think a lot of us, I love the idea of the momentum thing. I said at the beginning of the cycle too, I thought the momentum bar brought a visual representation to maybe what was in the game already. In that, a lot of times there was momentum things that happened, and I played this game long enough to tell you back to when NCAA had momentum, right? I mean, this is nothing new, right? It's packaged in a different way, but then also to have some of these factors that come in and they're random. Some of them are so horrible to try to play with, where your icons are missing, or just things that just really they don't make sense in game. And truthfully, some of those things, they just make people want to turn the game off.
Mm-hmm. Yep, no, I agree. And I knew that he was just kidding. He didn't mean fantastic. He probably meant like farts or something, Okay, so Soden, gameplay wise, A through F, what would you give the game?
Well, I think you got to look at it from 2 points of view. You got your casual gamer. I think that's who the NFL and possibly EA is probably gearing towards to grow their game, is picking up more casuals. So I really feel like the gameplay is probably geared more towards that casual that picks up the game, hits a few buttons, and things happen. And, it's just the way it is. They can luck out, get something. But for a hardcore Madden player, like everybody in this panel, probably everybody watching this right now, I started out with probably a low B this season, and then, as these updates rolled in and, you're watching receivers open, you throw to them, and all of a sudden defenders, just kind of morph and grab the football, and I'd have to say it's not an F for me, but it's probably a low C, maybe a high D for me right now.
Okay, low C / D+?
Just kind of depends on the update, which patch the patch.
Facts. All right, Nick. F.
Yeah, I'm in the same. I'll go low C, high D there. We're in a different. We have what do you call it? Abilities are off in our league, which it makes the game considerably a lot better for us. Anything you can do to lessen the superpowers they put in, even like some of the traits and like different. I don't know. Like there's just so much going on, and then I don't know. So I'm gonna and then back to momentum bar. I really like the idea of it. It's way too drastic and way back and forth, and some of the stuff is just crazy. Like, I don't know, quarterback's missing we had a quarterback throw 8 picks, and he was like 5 of 27 as soon as momentum went one way, and it was not his fault. His quarterback, it was Kyler Murray. He couldn't hit anything. Wide open receivers, he's sailing them by 10 yards. It was nuts. I will say I do like that weather feels like it matters a little bit more, where if you're playing a snowy game, you can't come out and chuck the ball around as much as you want to, or rain too. I don't like that they're tied to these stupid scenarios where if one user clicks it, it happens. If neither of them click it, it doesn't happen. Every playoff game has snow, like that whole thing. It's stupid. But yeah, just I like I said, gameplay really doesn't matter much to me in the long run. I am here no matter what the gameplay is like. I just need something outside of the gameplay to keep me glued to it. So, which doesn't happen either.
Yeah, I get that. And Rick, A through F. It's gotten a scathing review so far. What do you got for me?
I got to say, and I touched on this earlier, I think the upgrades are really significant for gameplay. I think the player feel, the player movement, I think the way zones are played, especially the way routes are run, the way that offensive linemen move, the way it feels to hit a hole, hit a gap. I really like all those things. There's a few issues that we see in the gameplay. There seems to be a lot more fall forward that happens with running backs, which can make it difficult if it's easy to get 4 yards every time. There can be some abuse there. But look, the core of this game is an omniscient quarterback who can see everything and throw everywhere versus an omniscient middle linebacker who can run the whole field and cover everything. And that core gameplay loop, I think, is pretty good in next gen. They've nerfed the user linebacker a little bit. You got to make the right choice. If you make the right choice, you get a good outcome most of the time. If you make the wrong choice, guy's open. And so I'm closer to a B when it comes to gameplay. I've really enjoyed the upgrades on next gen.
Yeah, I got to tell you, I am. So what would you say, A through F?
B.
B. Okay.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna lie. I am. Rick, we're kind of seeing this a little bit of the same way. So when it comes to the game, I do remember that there were games that were on like old gens that I thought played really well. Having said that, I remember 2 Maddens ago in our league, we were getting 40 sack seasons, right? Like some of our defensive ends were super OP. And then we got to last year and it didn't feel like there was something that never worked. This year feels more what's the word I'm looking for? It feels like a more polished product than what the next gen release was last year. So I wish defense played better. Like that's my really only gripe. I wish defense mattered a hell of a lot more than what it does. Having said that, I'm having more fun playing this game than I think I've had in quite a few years. So I know last year I got burnt out by about this time. Like I was ready to be done playing Madden. It was a really hard experience. Like I was looking for anything I could do to kind of like add some of that. I'm not really feeling like that this year. I've actually had a pretty enjoyable time. So I'm going to go B-. I do think there needs to be a significant upgrade to the defense. If that were to happen, I would be a happy camper. This is going to be the one that I felt like was going to get the worst one. Hack, start us off. I need your grade A from F on franchise mode.
So I guess we're talking about in between, right? So you're talking about all the features.
I'm talking about when you click franchise mode, other than just the gameplay, which we already did, everything that you do inside that mode.
Yeah, so I think because expectations were really high, and I'm going to sound overly negative, and I'm not an overly negative person, but I would give it a C-, just because I think there were a lot of things that were said, hey, we're going to make this better, we're going to do this, that didn't happen. And specifically, I feel like so much weight was put on this scouting mode for drafting, and it really did not come to fruition, really. There's nothing engaging or fun about the draft to me. And the mock drafts are completely a joke. You'll get guys with multiple picks in the first round, and they'll take 3 quarterbacks in the first round. It just the engine itself. There were just so many things that did not happen that were promising, and so I'd have to give it a C-.
Okay, Soden, what would you give franchise mode A through F?
I'd go with a B. Franchise to me is about customization and the ability to go in, and we do our own scenarios. We have our own marketplace and all that. So to me, to be able to customize that stuff, that works for me. I wouldn't go higher just because of some of the bugs that some of these leagues have had to endure, leagues restarting because the draft is messed up, seasons hung up. The scouting system, to me, I wasn't big on it to begin with. I'm not really big on it after it was released. To me, it's just a new way to look at the same stuff that was there. I would like to see, like I said before, some improvements into the franchise, and then maybe we can go higher. But to me, I'm going to say probably I'll go with a B-.
B-. Nick, you're up.
Oh man, this would be a D for me. Huge letdown this cycle was because the year of the franchise, that was literally their Twitter hack, and it's the worst franchise product we've ever had between issues and glitches and the scenarios. We have guys who have players who have scenarios that are injured and still get the scenario and all their 20,000 XP and stuff like that. They didn't even play in the game. You trade a player, then he's got a scenario team he's not even playing. It's just it's a mess. The scouting, I mean, the scouting update being delayed alone and just no communication about it whatsoever. Huge knock on that. Like, it just really took a lot of steam out of a lot of leagues, and lucky for us, I have a great core group of guys that we push through it. But I don't know, there's just no depth to the mode, and I don't know. You're not getting your money's worth, man, and that's just a huge bummer, because I had such high hopes with the coaching trees that are just not. They're pretty much useless. It's the coach XP thing that you could buy last cycle just in a tree form, and it's even worse than the moment. It's big. Yeah, let's go D-. I'll even bring it lower now because that made me mad talking about it.
Oh man, D-. All right, so Rick, we've got C-, B-, and a D-, bro. What do you got?
I think I'm close with Hack. I'm going to judge them based on what they tried to do. I like the game plan updates, but I think they're kind of sloppily executed. The weekly strategy stuff. I like the stamina, like I talked about earlier, the changes that they've made there, especially the progressive. I think it's fantastic, great change. But look, there is so much that is undercooked in franchise. There are bugs all over the place, UX bugs, game-breaking bugs, scenario bugs. It just feels really underbaked, and the scouting update is probably the biggest indicator of that. It feels like half a mode. There's a bunch of issues that they have that it doesn't quite feel fun and engaging. You can't fix your draft order in the middle of the draft. You can't redo your draft board. Things like the loss of the practice after you've played your game. There's so many edge cases that have fallen off the edge in the mode that I've got to go down to a C-. There's some stuff they did well. There's some good investments there that I'm happy to see. It's clear they spent a lot of time trying to redo those menus, but it's clear that they either didn't have the time or the process that allowed them to execute that at a high level.
Wow, you guys are so much nicer than me. I went with an F, okay? And that is not a shot at anybody working at EA. I actually really enjoy working with the team over there, but I got to be realistic. I see people that I have gamed with now for years and years and years and years just have no desire to play this experience. I've got people that have no faith in EA, and they're ready to walk away from everything that we've been doing for the last 7 years. When I start to see the people in my community hurting, and it's no longer just I'm upset. It's no longer just they're not giving me what I want, now I'm mad. It's legitimately like I just don't have a desire to do this anymore. Like I don't want to show up for my games. I don't want to go through this whole process. Like every year it's the same thing. I don't like seeing the people in my community hurt, right? And because of that, it's a solid F. Like your job was to give us the experience that we paid for. I paid to enjoy this 32-man franchise with all of my friends. That's all I want. I just want us all to have an enjoyable experience. And it just kind of seems like that was, in a way, stripped. And I don't think it was intentional. I really, really believe they went into this year going, we want to fix franchise mode. But I can't sit back and say that this wasn't done for what feels like a one-person mode. Like that's what it feels like. And when you have people that have been waiting for 4 years for a fix to finally happen, and then when it does, it's like, yo, this fix is like 5 years too late. You're so out of touch with where the community is currently. And maybe I just have it wrong. Maybe the community of online 32-person modes is way smaller than what I anticipate it being. But I legitimately feel like this is a huge part of what they're trying to tap into. And if that's the case, give us an experience that 32 people are going to enjoy. That's a fair experience for everyone. So because of that, I can't give them anything higher than an F. And for anybody out there that's potentially with you, it's watching, I apologize. I'm not trying to throw you under the bus, but my people are hurting, and I cannot sit here and give you a higher grade than that when I know I've got to go back and face 32 people in my franchise mode that are going to look me dead in the face and go, why did you say that? We're not having the experience that we want. So for that, I apologize. But I got to give you an F. I'm sorry, guys. It's just not something that I would be able to go back and realistically look at my guys and be like, hey, we're having so much fun. We're not. Like, it's got to get better than this. So, having said that, I am having the one thing that I've tried to focus on, right? The reason that I try to be as positive as I can be is because I don't allow things like the game to knock me off center. I feel like I can focus pretty much on myself. I can control me. I can't control anybody else but me. So if I'm feeling upset about something, I try to fix it, right? And one of the things that we did over at SPA this year, and this is where I want to have some fun with you guys, hopefully you have some good ideas, and hopefully we can kind of learn some things from each other, is I started to incorporate games outside of SPAs or Madden that would affect in-game. So one of the things I don't like about Madden is I want there to be a system of positives and negatives that can happen to players. And I know that EA doesn't do that because the NFL is not going to allow them to put in there, oh, so-and-so went drunk driving, or so-and-so got caught taking steroids. They're never going to allow you to do that, right? But it is a realistic part of the NFL. What we have done is we have added a spinner game, right, that has 100 options. 70 of these options are slightly positive. You get like +1 agility, +1 whatever. There's 10 options that are above normal, like +2 speed. And it's like so-and-so worked out with Deion Sanders. So-and-so worked out with Peyton Manning. So-and-so worked out with Brett Favre. And they've got some good upgrades, but we've got 15 negative upgrades too, where you could lose some guys to suspensions and all this kind of thing. And every single user has to go through it. If they go through the entire season with no broken rules at all, no warnings, no anything, they get an additional spin. So if they get something negative, they get to go one more round. If they don't, they are up to the chances, and every single member has to go through it. I love it. I love it. All of our leagues showed up. They were all like, oh my God, I don't want something bad. So that was one thing we added this year because we knew we needed to get in some kind of engagement that was going to be outside of the norm. So it was a positive. Are there things you guys have done like that this year that you've added to your communities that is bringing in some kind of engagement?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. We, for us, it's really dangerous for us because we play so many seasons, bumping attributes up a lot, just because it naturally happens over time. But we do a college all-star game where the 6 best play where we do the NCAA mod, and we sim the game out, computer versus computer. Then everyone can watch it, and it's got all our draft prospects' names in there. So you see the top quarterbacks, the lower receivers, whatever. And the 6 players of the best game earn a wheel spin. So it's our spin of development trait.
Nice.
So it's got bigger chunks for a star dev spot, smaller for superstar, and then a couple with small ones for X Factor. So if you draft one of those guys, right on our live draft show, we spin the wheel, and then your guy's dev right away. Yeah. So the only downfall is if your guy was already X Factor dev and he comes up star dev, he gets docked down to star dev. So it's risk reward. Yeah. But we try to do it with the guys lower down in the draft, so it makes the draft deeper. You see some of these guys who shouldn't go in the top 5 all of a sudden are going top 5, make other guys fall. And then we do a bunch of different we call them X programs. I'm going to pull some of them up. Where I don't think offensive line matters at all. Right. I think it's useless. You don't pay him, whatever. So we have an X program where if you draft an offensive lineman in the top 16 picks, he's automatically superstar dev for the career. Spread the love. We have it. If you have 2 plus yards apiece, they're both safe from dev regression. If you have 3 receivers / tight ends with 900 yards apiece, they're safe from dev regression. Comp pick programs where if you let a stud go to free agency and he gets a huge contract, sudden you get a dev upgrade for somebody you draft in the round. Anyone you want, you can slap a dev on them. We brought in your free agency spreadsheet where it's all the blind bids, and we did a little show to find out where the spreadsheet decides where those top guys go. Yeah, it eliminates the sniping and different like that where the guys are at home. And then one of my favorite ones that I kind of want to vamp with mentorship program. So if you think Brett Favre to Aaron Rodgers, Aaron Rodgers so much sitting on the bench for those years, learning from Brett Favre, or Alex Smith, Patrick Mahomes to Alex Smith. So we do, if you draft a quarterback in one of the first 2 rounds and he sits for a year or 2 behind a stud quarterback, he has to meet a certain criteria. You can earn, +2 throw power, +3 short area, different traits that make it worthwhile. If you're not a guy that can get big stats with the quarterback to earn those dev upgrades and things, you can enter them in our QB dev program if you're eligible, and then you can have them dev that. Gotcha. It's a cool way to do it, different things. So we get a bunch of different stuff. That's only about half of it, but I'll let other guys talk about it.
That is super interesting. Soden, You got anything that you guys have added this year? I know you guys have a huge token menu. It's something that I think a lot of leagues have kind of made their own. What are some things that you guys are doing this year?
Yeah, we have a full marketplace with all different scenarios that you can unlock things from. Put me in kicker, put me in coach with a kicker scenario, a whole bunch of stuff. We have the same thing that XCFL has, where you put your starting quarterback back behind a veteran and you hit certain accolades through the season and unlock certain abilities. But we've gone outside of Madden a little bit. We have a jersey break that we do, an autographed. We partner
it's so
with
cool.
RSA jerseys. What we do is guys go in and they buy a slot for $20. They buy, let's say the Atlanta Falcons, and then we have 3 jerseys, a random mystery box. We open up these three jerseys, and if the Falcons are one of those, you win it. We send it to you. It's your jersey. Could be anybody on the Falcons team, past or present. I mean, we've had some pretty cool breaks. We've had a Jim Kelly Hall of Fame jersey. We've had a lot of them. They've been pretty cool. And then we've given away some of them because, we go in and we've bought so many jerseys here with RSA that they start giving us some jerseys as well. And so we've been able to give that back to the public and back to some other leagues too. So we've done that. That's kind of gotten us out of the Madden thing, kind of built the community, even stronger. We've got people in there that don't even play Madden. They're just in there for the jerseys. And then we also went into Battlefield. We're starting a Battlefield franchise, a season basically that mirrors the NFL. You're going to go in, you can create your team right on our website or our app. Create your team, invite your players, and then we get everybody together and you play a full NFL season. We hold a playoff, and you get Snipes and myself in there to broadcast some of the matches, and it should be a fun experience. We'll see how it goes.
This should be really dope. Anybody out there is playing Battlefield, I highly encourage you to hit these guys up. It's a lot of fun. I think you guys did something in the past, and we had a team that ended up going out there and playing. I know they had an enjoyable experience. They had nothing but positive things to say. So huge shout out to what you guys are doing over there. I know it's a lot of fun. Hack, what are some things have you guys added anything this year to make it a more enjoyable experience, or what do you guys got going on?
Yeah, no, I think the number one thing that we've added this year is we started a weekly. Well, it used to be a coaches show, and now it's kind of turned into a weekly, just kind of. It's almost just a Madden version of Saturday Night Live, just like anything can happen. Because one of my best friends in the league, Wacky, he's in the league. And we do the Hack and Whack show, and it was it's every Friday, and we took a little bit of time off for Christmas, but we did an amazing Halloween show where one of our guys dressed up as the devil, and he was the CEO of EA, and so we all had different bit parts that we played, and about being put through hell, and what it comes down to is that we don't want to take this game too seriously, because when you take the game too seriously, then you kind of lose what you're trying to accomplish. And so we do a lot of the other cool stuff with in-game rewards and prizes, but everything that we do is based upon earning loyalty points. And there's only one way you can earn loyalty points, and that's through playing a game. We do not give loyalty points for winning or anything else, because what I want guys that are there just to play the game and have fun in the community, and not all about, we're not a comp league. We'll never be a comp league. We're here to be a community, and so all of those Hack and Whack shows, whether we make a little bit of money on Twitch or guys donate subs or whatever they do, I've set up a matching program where I match all those funds, and so we do all kinds of ways that you can use your loyalty points for drawings and things like that. And so the grand prize this year at the end of the cycle is that someone that has earned all those loyalty points it's kind of like a lottery ball system, where if you earn the most loyalty points, you have more chances to win. And our top winner this year will win a $1,000 valued big screen TV. And so that's the top prize. And then we just recently had a college football promo where the guy that picks all the right winners with all the different prop bets during the college football playoffs will win anywhere from $200 to $400. And so just a lot of cool kind of cash prizes that we do. We do some things with in-game rewards too, but quite honestly, this Hack and Whack show, my boy Wacky, and we've done all kinds of crazy stuff. And if you guys just want to laugh at some guys just acting stupid, it's awesome. And so we do those things to just kind of have fun, and our league loves it. They tune in, and it becomes, we have our own stickers in our Discord off of the show, and all these other things have gone on. So it's just having fun, man.
Yeah, it is a blast. For anybody that hasn't gone over and check that out, Whack is probably my favorite dude in Madden. That dude does not get enough credit for just what he does. Just a great, humble human being that has no problem just being himself, and I absolutely love it. It's a phenomenal show. You guys absolutely kill it. Rick, what are some fun things? Have you guys added anything this Madden cycle just to kind of up it a little bit?
We've had one thing that we added that it was really pretty simple, but it's something we've wanted to do for a long time, which is to fix the in-season free agency, and where it's just kind of free for all. And we especially this year, where there's so many contracts that get tight, and there's a lot of guys who struggle to know how to manage cap, and so you see a lot of high-value players dropping into free agency even mid-season while people try to get out of negative cap space. So we just this year added a waiver system, really simple waiver system for free agency mid-season. And it's simple. The order is the reverse order, or the same order, rather, of the draft. So if you have the first draft pick, you're the top of the order for the waiver system. And then as you pick a player over, I think our threshold is either 94 speed or 80 overall. Okay. So if you want a free agent who is 94 speed or 80 overall, you submit a waiver. 24 hours, if you're the highest one, it's yours. And then you've used yours and you move to the bottom of the list. And so we've wanted something like that for a long time. We stumbled into this really simple to understand, clean implementation on it. And it's been a nice win. It's easy to do, and it keeps it from being a situation where somebody cuts Marshawn Lattimore at midnight and somebody else wakes up at 6 a.m. Eastern time and snipes him because they have some cap space, and that's not how that should go.
No, absolutely not. I mean, that's one of the reasons I do not like those features at all. It's not a feature that seems like it's set up to add any kind of realism to a 32-person mode. Offer your guy his offer and back off, dude. You pay him exactly what you want. You don't know what anybody else is giving him. Just do the offer and back off. Guys, I cannot thank you enough. It has been a phenomenal show. We've been here for almost an hour and a half. You guys have been phenomenal with your time. I know your community is out there. Absolutely love you. They have absolutely shown up in this chat. There is so many comments. I can't even go back to the very beginning to even see like how this all started. And that's usually what we do. Usually I go back here and I'm like, yo, let's go through all the comments. I cannot do that today because there has been so many. So huge shout out to all your guys' community. I want to, again, recycle back where we started. Freaking Laser, dude, this show went on phenomenally. The background is moving, the cams are moving. You absolutely killed it, bro. Your graphics have done really well. If there's anybody out there that you're like, yo, I want to start streaming, I want to have some cool backgrounds, I want to add some stuff, the dude can do anything. I think mine's got smoke on it. This one's got some green boxes going all crazy. It's just some really cool stuff. Make sure you hit dude up. When it comes to what you guys have done in the chat, I do not want to miss this at all. You guys absolutely showed out with your subs. One of the things that happened last year with Season 1 that I wasn't a real big fan of, and I got some of you guys in this channel actually subbed to the channel while we were doing it. I never started League Crawler Live to do the sub thing, right? It was just, to be honest, I didn't even know how to get my name switched over so we could do the channel over at League Crawler. I just knew how to turn my system on, and it worked for streaming, so I was like, let's just use that. Let's film it all, and let's throw it up there. But there were some things that started happening. And when we stopped doing those, one of the reasons I actually stopped is I didn't want to take away what we were doing from League Crawler on my own channel. It's just, that was never the goal. So I started doing my own stuff, and I started doing stuff for the Mostradamus Mafia. And we actually hit a sub goal at 50 subs for a month, and I ate one of these hot chips. Have you guys ever eaten one of these hot chips before?
No, I watched your video.
Nope, I won't do it after watching your video, bud.
Yo, yeah. I'm going to tell y'all, the half hour of my mouth being on fire was not nearly as bad as the 2 days that I was waking up in the middle of the night running to the bathroom. Like, it torches your stomach, right? Having said that, any subs that are donated while we do League Crawler Live that are done for the community, I'm actually going to tag team some stuff with Matt, and we're going to do some similar stuff where we can still do stuff, but I don't ever want that to look like it's something for me. If you guys want to see me and Matt do some crazy stuff, or you just want to see me do some crazy stuff, I don't mind doing that. Some of the guys in the community are like, will you get chased by police dogs? I don't give a shit. Like, we called up to the thing, and they're like, I was like, how much does that cost? And they're like, it doesn't cost us anything. We actually can't get many people to do it. And I was like, that's That sounds perfect, right? Like, sign me up for those kind of things. There's some people out there like, get your first tattoo. I don't mind. I'll get lead crawler somewhere on me or an SPA tattoo. I don't care about any of that. It's fun stuff. But I just want to make sure you guys all understand what those funds are going to. They're never just going to come to me. What I do on my own channel on my own time is fun for me, and that stuff still goes back to my community. But anything donated here while we do Lead Crawler Live will go back to me and Matt doing some cool stuff for you, and it's just going to be a fun experience, and we'll all have some enjoyment with it. But yeah, if you haven't had a chance to see me eat that hot chip, I highly encourage you to do that. That fucker was hot. Okay, that is the hottest thing I have ever put in my mouth. I still feel like I've got boiling going on. It is intense, let me tell you. I also don't want to get out of here without going back to what Hack mentioned earlier, and that was you have a dude, and I don't want to get his name wrong, Wells, correct?
Yeah.
We have a dude named Wells going through cancer. Guys, again, this is the time that you get into my chat, you get into the channel. Let's all wish Wells a good, speedy recovery. If you send prayers his way. If you don't send prayers and you send well wishes, send well wishes this way. Is there a GoFundMe or anything to help as he's going through this process or anything?
We haven't really done that, but you know, I'll get in touch with him and see. It seems like it's more, you know, he had to kind of take a hiatus from the league, and so as a league, you see I'm representing our merch, but we sent him a big loyalty league blanket, and a bunch of us got together and sent him about $600. This just the league did, and. But we didn't really do something like that. I'll talk to him and see if he's comfortable with that, Mo. But honestly, just thoughts and prayers and just the support. You know, we just keep him laughing and keep him having fun, and just know that guys are out there thinking about him. It means a lot to him. So I know he'd appreciate that.
Yeah, and where we come from with that is at League Crawler, especially with why I joined on with this site anyway, is because of how selfless Matt is for the entire community. What's going on with that is not anything any different. We do this because we don't want people to feel like their community is just 32 people big. It's not. I know that I've got 32 people in my own community that I can reach out to, but I also know that I can reach out to each and every single one of you, and I don't feel like I'm going to get told no. I asked you guys to come on the show, and you gave me an immediate yes and did what you could. That's how we want this entire thing to go. So as bad as Madden can be at times, what we do together matters so much more than that. So reach out to Will, see if there's things that we as a community can do. We absolutely want to do everything in our power to make sure that he does not ever feel like he's battling this alone. You have an entire community behind you, brother. Whatever we can do to help. My DMs are always open to you. Just hit me up. So huge shout out to what you guys are doing over there. And Wells, prayers to you, my brother. That's a scary thing, man. But like I said, you ain't alone, brother. We'll get you how we can. Guys, thank you for your time. I can't thank you enough.
Thanks for having us on.
Well, thanks everybody.
About the Matt, man.
Love what you do for the community, Mo. This is fantastic. This community is what really drives what happens here. This is what keeps us all going.
Right, and before we go, Matt has just put in the chat, and I did not miss it, Matt. I just had to find the in. Have we done the giveaways? There actually has been 2 giveaways that we did as we came back from break. I'll have to go back and read through those to see who won those. We did 1 PlayStation, 1 Xbox. Let's do another one right now. The first 2 people that message at League Crawler, at Wells, let's do it. The first 2 people that wish Wells a good one, let's go. You got them. Put a PlayStation or an Xbox next to it so you know. But even if you don't get it, I still encourage you guys to go wish Wells a good one. Like let's spam the hell out of this chat. I'll let it go. He can go back through here at any point and watch this throughout his journey and know that he has a ton of support here. And I'll actually start it. Prayers for Wells. Make sure this dude's got some love because he absolutely does. So the first 2 people that reach over to at League Crawler, right? And do it. Let's do it on Twitter. Let's not even do it in this channel. The first 2 people that go at to League Crawler out on Twitter with a PlayStation and Xbox, put it on there. Prayers for Wells. You've got it. Wells Strong. That's a great one. I like that even better. Wells Strong. Put it out there. Let's go. Guys, it was an incredible show. Huge shout out to Soden Bowl. Huge shout out to Loyalty. Huge shout out to the XCFL and huge shout out to DadBods. You guys are absolutely killing it. Your communities have great leaders. There's a reason these are still continuing to go well. Well Strong. Season 2. Adios, guys. See you next week. Or see you in 2 weeks. We have shows every 2 weeks. Adios.